it's Cathy here, and I'm going to show you how to create this Northern Lights style Christmas card using the Hero Arts Winter Trees stamp. And I'll also be using this clear set from Hero Arts as well for the sentiment, and that's called Vintage Christmas Wishes. To begin, I'm going to take some Memento Paris Dusk ink and my stamp, and also some bee paper. This is an alcohol type of paper that you can use. So I'm going to turn my stamp over and I'm going to give it a thorough inking with the Memento Paris Dusk ink. I'm then going to place my paper over the top and rub over the area. This way I make sure I get a really good impression. So there we have our stamped image. So I'm now ready to begin colouring in my trees. So to begin, I'm going to use the Chameleon Pens Spring Meadow. And I'm going to be using the brush nib of the pen, which you can see has got quite a fine point. But because I want to get a colour gradation, and what I mean by this is I can use the pen and I can just get a solid colour, or I can infuse it with the mixing chamber. And by holding it upright, I'm going to dial back the colour in this pen. And you can see here that the colour is now lighter and then gradually gets darker. So I want that ombre effect on my trees. So I'm going to fuse for around about 5 seconds. And then I'm going to start at the top of my tree, and I'm just going to get the merest hint of green at the top here. And then as I go down my tree, the colour starts to get darker and darker. I'm just flicking into a few of those branches and then pulling all the way down to the bottom. So I'm going to repeat that process, remembering that once it gets darker, not to go back into the lighter area again. I'm now going to change colours. So this time I'm going to be using Mellow Yellow. Now I'm going to use Peony Pink. And each time I'm re-infusing my pen for about 5 seconds with the mixing chamber. And then I'm going to go in with the sky blue. So I've decided to leave a few of the trees white, just to add that contrast. So now I'm going to use the cornflower blue, and I'm going to add in the snowbank. So I'm going to do this in sections. So I'm going to fuse for around about 10 seconds. And then I'm going to start further out in my snowbank, and then just using little circular motions, work back towards the top of the bank. I also want to add a little shadow around each of the tree trunk bases. So I'm fusing for about 4 seconds and then working in a little circle out towards the centre. Next, because this is a permanent alcohol ink, it means that I can put other layers of different mediums on top. So I'm going to be using the Sheer Shimmer Spritz Sparkle Spray. And I'm just going to add a little bit of shimmer to this with a couple of spritzes of this spray. I need to trim my stamped panel. So my panel is now ready to be matted and layered. And again, I'm going to trim my mat. And for this, I'm going to use the Perfect Layers 1/8 of an inch ruler to give me a nice even mat all the way around. That is now ready to mount onto my card. So for my card base, I've taken a linen white card, and I'm just going to stamp the sentiment Christmas Wishes from the vintage Christmas Wishes stamp set. So I'm going to be using VersaFine to ink up my stamp, and I'm just going to stamp that onto my card. I'm then ready to place my coloured panel onto the card with a little bit of adhesive. And that's our card finished.